These goldfish were rescued from the Erie County Fair. These are the little goldfish that people win on the Midway, and they started out as about 1.5-inchers, and people can't believe when I tell them these are the same goldfish that came out of the Erie County Fair Midway 7 years ago, and look at the size of them now. They're fed well. The whole idea of the water gardening, as I've learned over time, water gardening is a lot of work. I tell people if you're planning on putting a pond in your yard, especially a substantial pond, it's going to double your work in the garden. Easily double your work in the garden, because there's an awful lot of work when it comes to cleaning the pond, cleaning the filtration systems, keeping them running clean so your fish are healthy and the water is nice and clear. Of course, the fish don't have to have clear water, but people like to see clear water so they can see the fish. You'll also see something unusual that people don't have growing, probably watercress, which you can, lovely, wonderful edible watercress, and it likes to grow in running water. And the root system of the watercress also acts as a natural filtration unit for the pond. So all the roots, they eat all the bad bacteria out of the pond, and the plants grow wonderfully, and we harvest the watercress and use it in our salads. So that is one of the things we do grow in the garden that's edible.
It's really difficult for me to have a favorite plant, I think, because I love all of them so much. But the Helia crimson that I discovered in Oxford, way before it came to the United States and became such a popular plant, most people know it as licorice plant. And it has that silver gray leaf, and it's just wonderful in the hanging urns, in the window boxes, and it just grows so well. Professional gardeners would probably have a heart attack if they come to my garden, because I cannot find a plant, a leaf, a flower that I can't love, and I want to grow them all, and I only have so much space. So I have them in the ground, I tuck them anywhere they'll fit, I put them in containers, and I move the containers around. But one thing that I do that would probably make people who are more into gardening happy is that when I get a new plant, I usually buy 2 or 3, and I plant them in 2 or 3 areas, and then wherever it grows the best, I transplant the other ones to that spot the next year. That way I don't lose a whole season, and it's a really good tip in trying to get a garden going. Now, my garden is over 30 years old. It has changed so many times, from big trees to small shrubs, and then the trees are growing up again, and I'm losing my son, so I'll probably have to give up my flower gardening and go back to some of the herb and the shade gardens that I had years ago. But that's the fun of gardening, in that you can always be changing, you can always be trying new things, and if they don't work, you try something new the next year. Can't take it too seriously. You talk to your plants and say, if you don't grow, I'm just going to rip you out by your little roots.
What a wonderful thing Garden Walk has become for the city of Buffalo. I've been involved for the past 9 out of the 12 years. The first 3 years I was able to actually go on the garden walk and enjoy other people's gardens, and now of course I have to be here to answer questions and chat with all the throngs of visitors. But Garden Walk has taken on a life of its own in the city. Now that we have over 260 gardens, it's literally rebuilt neighborhoods and enriched neighborhoods and given so much pride and home ownership for people in this city. It's also invited so many people who live in the suburbs and who live in other cities and actually other countries, as in Canada, to come in and see what a wonderful quality of life we have here in Buffalo, and how wonderful our gardens can be also. Our homes, our gardens, the architecture is just wonderful. You don't see old homes like you do see in the city here out in the suburbs. So it does allow people to come into the city, to see the quality of life we have here, to see how neighborhoods are revitalizing because of the garden walk, and they get to experience postage stamp sized gardens and larger gardens such as mine, gardens with themes. Everybody has a different idea of what their garden should be, and there's such a great variety. I think it's kind of a PhD in gardening in 2 days.